how's the weather
Oh, it's
down there?
pretty cold.
It's getting
Cold,
cold,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, like 40s, yes.
You're
And
um
I think it's going, yeah.
it's such a it's such a long country, right? So how much temperature variation is there during
Yes,
yeah,
a lot. I also live in the south of Argentina,
yeah.
so it's pretty cold in winter. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Well, I live in New York State, which is actually pretty close to Canada. And
Yes.
because it's close to Canada, winters are bad, but it's not just cold. We get a lot of snow. And so we always have to shovel out the driveway to get out. It's a lot of snow. You have a lot of snow there too?
No, 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 no. It's last week it snowed like very little, very little.
Okay. Okay. Um, and I okay, one other thing. We both know Pablo from the group we're in, right? You guys are from the same country.
Yes,
Have you guys met or
yes.
not?
No, no, no,
Oh,
because
okay.
he lived far from my city. Yes,
Okay.
he lives in Buenos Aires.
We'll have to make that happen sometime. I'll go down
But
there
I would
and I'll
like to
meet
meet him.
Pablo, and
Yes.
then Pablo and I will go meet you. That's my plan.
Okay.
Um, okay, so we're talking about pet peeves. Maybe we could just say clearly what that is. I think you know what it means, but how would you describe it? What a pet peeve is?
Well, something that particularly annoys me. Yes, get me
Yeah.
angry. I think
Yeah, angry, annoyed. Something
something
also
that
that
other people do. Yes.
something that other people do, a behavior that other people do that makes you feel angry or annoyed. That's actually a great, I would say that's a perfect definition. Yeah. But also something that I think um, not necessarily other people feel annoyed by. Maybe other people are, but maybe not. So maybe
Hmm.
something that really annoys you that doesn't bother other people at all. Could be. It could be. Now
Yes.
there are a
Yes.
lot of
Mhm.
phrases
That's
that we
right.
can use. I want to kind of just have a conversation about the topic, but I do want to just go over a couple of phrases to introduce it. Uh, what would you say if you were going to talk about one of your pet peeves, one of the things that you really don't like that makes you angry or annoyed? How would you describe it? Maybe you could give me
Uh,
one example.
I don't know. One thing that really, really, yes, one thing that really annoys me is, um, for instance, when my husband he's a really good cook, but
Oh,
when he
nice.
cooks, he makes such a mess. So it really annoys me because he leaves all the drawers open, the cabinets, and all the food in the counter table,
Yeah,
and
the counter,
also on
yeah.
the floor on the counter. Yes,
Well,
he makes such a mess.
can I make a little comment about that? If he's
Yes,
cooking for you,
yes.
you're not allowed to say
I
anything
shouldn't.
about that. You should, yeah.
Yes,
That's fair though. So you don't like a mess, but it's
but I
interesting that you
also
said
cook
that.
for everybody, and
Yeah. So
I
how do
don't
you
do such
cook?
a mess.
When you do it, how do you do it to avoid making a mess when you cook? Because I'm like your husband. When I cook, it's an unbelievable disaster. It's like the house has been destroyed. How do you do it?
I try to wash when I'm cooking. I'm also washing some forks or pots or whatever I'm using.
Yeah. I don't want to generalize, but do you think it's possible that that's more of a male female thing?
Genre.
I'm just saying that because when my wife cooks, by the time she's done cooking, everything is perfect. Everything is super clean, just like you said. And by the time I'm done cooking, it's a mess. I wonder if that's.
Like,
I wonder.
yes, the World War.
But I feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like that's the joy of cooking. The joy of cooking is making a disaster. That's the fun part.
I'm not that sure.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, that's a good phrase that you use. One thing that annoys me. It's less strong than you use the word, I think, hate. One thing that I hate.
Mm,
So this is a little stronger. I would say if it annoys you so much that you might yell or something,
kill
then it might
somebody.
maybe this is good. Yeah. And this would be a little bit softer. This is sort of like ugh, but not quite as strong.
Yeah,
Have you heard the phrase gets on my nerves?
yes, I think
Yeah.
so. Yes,
Okay. How would you compare that to this one and this one in sort of the strength of it?
I think it's in the middle of annoy and hate.
I think that's probably right. Yeah. Yeah. Probably around the middle. You could say that annoys and gets on my nerves is they're similar, but gets on my
Yes.
nerves is interesting because annoys is often just a one-time thing, and gets on my nerves is something that continues for a long time, and it only starts to annoy you
Mm,
after a while. Like
mm-hmm.
a song that keeps playing over and over and over, and the 20th time it gets on your nerves, but not the first time.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it.
Okay. That's a good. I think that's a good example. That's probably a pretty common one. Um, I I want to share a couple later, but I want to get into just a few other phrases while we're starting off here. So have you heard of these
It drives me
before?
nuts. Yeah, it drives me nuts. Yes,
Drives me
when
nuts.
people eat on the bus or so on. Yes, it really bothers. Mm. I can't stand. Yes, yes, yes. I
Okay,
have heard it.
all phrases. Well, you know all the phrases. That's pretty. That's
Drives me
pretty good.
crazy. Also, yes.
Yeah, drives me nuts and drives me crazy would be exactly the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, the same.
Crazy and nuts are the same. Of these, drives me nuts when people eat on the bus or subway, bothers me when people bring babies to a movie, and can't stand when people don't put their carts back. Uh, do any of these get on your nerves? Do any of these annoy you or bother you?
Mm, yes. The first. Yes, the first and the second. Yes,
First
they
and the
really
second
annoy
one.
me. Yes.
Okay. All
Babies
right.
to a movie or on an aeroplane, on a plane. Yes.
Do you have any specific memories of either of these that you could share? I'm curious if you have any specific memories of things like that. Or baby, it could be babies on a
Uh,
plane too, because that's a common one.
yes, but you can't do much because
Right, you're
what
trapped.
can you do?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
you're not gonna kill the baby.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, that's true. I just wonder if you have any specific memories or stories around something like these that you can recall, um, of when something really
Mm,
bothered you or annoyed you.
don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
No, don't
I
remember.
I
Nothing
recently had this
specific.
one happen to me. I was flying back from London, and there were two little kids sitting in front of me. In the two seats in front of me, both
Mm.
seats, there was one to my right, immediately to my right, and there were two behind me. So I was surrounded on all sides by
Oh, how
little
lucky.
kids. It was horrible because they were crying, they were kicking the seat, they were yeah, it was not. I mean, I feel bad for the parents um, because they have to try to deal with that, but it's not
Yes,
pleasant.
but I think that they are babies. But the worst thing is when parents do nothing. Yes.
Well, but yeah, that's true. But what can you do with a little baby? I feel bad for the parents too, a little bit,
Yes.
because what can you do, right? Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. Frustrated or what? Um, do you have kids?
Yes, I have two, not kids, they are teenagers.
Okay, okay, so they're no problem on a
15
plane.
years, yes. They
So
are
what?
15 and 13.
15 and 13. Okay, that probably comes with its own pet peeve, its own set of pet peeves, right?
Yes, true.
Would you care to share any examples? I'm very curious.
Yes. My boy, the one who is 15, he's
Yeah.
always, uh, what do you call, tapping things like this
Yeah, tapping things. Yeah. Is he a
with
drummer?
it's a glass of water.
Just anything, he'll tap it.
uh,
Yeah.
he taps with everything, with a pencil, with his foot. Oh, that really annoys me.
Is it a phase, do you think? Just something that he's doing for a period of time, just a phase? Or is that something he's always done?
I think it's a phase because
Hmm.
I don't recall that he has done that before.
Okay.
My girl, the one who is 13, she's also she's my height, so she she uses my clothes and she uses my clothes, and then when she how do you call it? Then she leaves the clothes in the floor. So no, I want to kill her.
Well, that's isn't that kind of an indirect compliment though? Because that means she feels that, because teenagers are usually very picky with their clothes
Yeah,
and what they wear. That means she feels that your style is cool enough for her to wear. That sounds like that
maybe.
that's an indirect
I haven't
compliment.
thought about that.
That means you're cool. Is that a thing also, where you live, where, I mean, teenagers just, they think that their parents are embarrassing, and they
Yes,
don't
of course.
they don't want to be seen around their
Yes,
parents because they feel embarrassed by everything they do.
yes, of course. Yes.
Although apparently not in your case, because she wears your clothes.
Only
So,
with the clothes.
oh, okay, okay. But it bothers you that she wears the clothes, or it bothers you that?
No, it bothers me that she leaves it on the floor.
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm noticing a pattern here. The pots and the pans and the clothes being left around and not tidy. So you're a very well organized person. You
Yes.
like to have
Yes.
things in their proper
Yes.
place. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's good. Everyone else needs to learn. How do you get everyone else to follow your rules? Do you make rules? Do you just ask nicely? How do you do that? How do you handle that?
Yes. Yes. First, I ask nicely, but two times, three times, not so nicely.
Well, when I was growing up, my parents I had specific responsibilities that I had every week. Like, on Wednesday, you clean your room. On Sunday, you need to vacuum the entire house. Specific days. Do you do anything like that when raising your kids? They have these things to do on certain days.
Not on certain days, but yes. After lunch, we take turns to do the dishes,
Mhm.
uh, clean the table, and do make the beds. And yes, they have to clean their bedrooms.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah. Um, My when I was growing up, my room was always pretty clean, but my older brother's room was always very messy. We always had a my mother was always angry at my older brother, but not me. So I was the good kid because I had a clean room.
You have only one brother?
I have two brothers.
No?
The third brother, my little brother, he got to do whatever he wanted because he was the youngest. So it didn't matter if his room was clean or messy. Nobody cared. It is, he's the little one. He's special. He's cute. No, nobody ever gave him any problems. I was always very jealous of my little brother. I used to torture him because I was jealous because I was the youngest, and then he was born 4 years later, and everyone thought he was the cutest and the youngest. So I think
Yes,
I became very jealous.
the same in my case. We are six siblings.
Six?
One, yes, a
Wow.
boy and five girls.
What was it like? Wait. Okay, well, at least you're on the majority team, right?
Yes,
What was it like growing up with five siblings?
yes, it's, you never get bored.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Was
No.
everybody pretty close in age? The age
Yes,
is pretty close?
yes, yes, 1 or 2 years.
1 or 2 years between everybody. Wow, that must
Yes,
have been so cool growing up like that.
except me and the youngest, because I was the fifth child
Hmm.
for 5 years, and then came the youngest.
Wait, so you mean there's a 5 year gap between number four and number five?
No, number five and number six.
Oh, number five and number six. And
Yes,
then
I'm number five.
right.
I was the
Okay.
youngest for 5 years.
Wow. Oh, you were the youngest for 5 years, and then number six came along, and number six was a boy, was your little brother.
No,
Oh.
the eldest is the boy. The eldest is the boy.
Ah. So
Then five girls.
I'm curious about his experience growing up with five sisters. Did he become like a second dad, or was it? I'm just curious about.
No,
No.
not at all. No, no, no,
Okay. Okay.
no.
That sounds very interesting. 'Cause I grew up with two brothers, and I always wondered what it would be like to have a sister. So very cool.
Mhm.
Um, well, getting back to pet peeves, I want to throw a couple of hypothetical situations at you, just to sort of make you think about a specific situation, and let me know what you would think in that situation. You know what a hypothetical is? Have you heard that
Yes,
term?
yes, of course. Yes,
I'll just write it
yes.
down. Hypothetical. What does that mean?
It's not true.
Yeah, not true. Well, yeah, not real, let's say. It could be true in a certain way, but it's not real. It's just
Hmm.
imaginary. Yeah. Okay, so the first one,
Yes,
I want you to imagine that let me ask this first. Are there Have you traveled abroad before to other countries?
yes, I have. Yes,
Okay. Have you ever been to the United States?
yes.
Okay.
I went to Orlando and Orlando. Yes, to Disney.
London? You've been to London, you've been to the United States?
Yes,
Okay. I want you to imagine that you decide to move to the United States. Okay? So now you're living
yeah.
in, I don't know, wherever. Where did you visit?
In the United States, I went to Orlando, to Disney.
Okay. Okay. So if you Florida, right? You were in Florida.
Yes, Florida.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Since you've been there, I'm curious what kind of things might, and you're not going to offend me because because I live here, so don't worry about that. What kind of things might drive you crazy if you moved to the United States? What what things when you were there maybe kind of like, what, this is weird, or this is strange. Why are things
Mm.
like this? I just went
One
to
thing
London.
I
Go,
didn't
yeah, please
like
go ahead.
about
Yeah,
USA,
yeah.
yes, no, the food. The
The
food,
food.
I didn't
Ooh,
like
the
the food
food.
because it was all hamburgers,
Yeah.
pizza. Yes, I wanted to eat vegetables.
That's a really good one. I feel exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. Every restaurant you go to is it's got either a bun or a wrap or it's fries, it's burgers, fries, and
Yes, junk food.
it's all junk food. Yeah. Unless you live in a big city. And if you live in a big city, it's much, much better. For example, New York, you can get every cuisine in the world easily, and it's pretty authentic as well because those people have come to New York to live there, and so it's you can get great Indian food, Thai food, Japanese food,
Mm.
Mexican food. It's all very good. But you're right, a lot of the restaurants could say junk food, have junk food.
What happened
What
when you went to London?
Same thing. That's what I was gonna say.
Ah,
It's like that, only worse. It's like what you said, only like times two. It was I couldn't go anywhere without ordering fish and chips or a burger,
yes,
and that's literally the only things that they had. It was terrible.
yes, it's true.
Yeah, I like London, but it was hard to find good food. They do have good Indian food, I should say. Is there anything else? Anything else that got on your nerves when you were there? For example, people's manners. Anything that stuck out as kind of, whoa, that's a little weird, a little strange, or behaviors.
Mm, don't recall. No, I think that no people were good. No, no,
Yeah.
I
Well, if
don't
you went
have
to
problems
Disney,
with
they were
people.
probably good because they were trying to extract money from you.
Yes,
Visit Disney.
of
Yeah,
course.
right. I'm curious if I could ask, what's the tipping situation where you live? Because one of the things that I know a lot of people complain about when they visit the United States is, why do I have to pay 20% extra when I go to eat somewhere? Because the
Mm.
restaurant doesn't want to pay their workers more, right? I'm just curious about how you feel about that when you were in the U.S. and also what's the tipping situation where you live, in the city where you live.
Here in Argentina, it is not compulsory
Hmm.
to tip the waitress or the waiter, but it's a common. It's usual. You do it because it's common, and you tip 10%,
Okay, 10%.
but you're not obliged. Yes, yes.
What
It's
if I
not.
mean, so
It is not compulsory.
if you didn't do it and then you returned to that restaurant, there would be no problems. It would be okay.
No, it would be okay.
And it wouldn't cause a sort of you wouldn't feel any shame as a result.
No, not at
Okay.
all.
That's
No,
great.
but I
Yeah.
used to tip. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Um did you find it how did you find it when you were visiting the States? Was it easy to get used to or no problem? Odd?
Well, in fact, when we traveled to Orlando, we have all the meals covered. We have paid beforehand,
Oh,
so we didn't
nice.
have to pay
Package
anything.
deal.
Yes, yes,
Wow. So you had a sort of package.
yes.
I think
That's
that's
right.
called all inclusive,
All inclusive. Yes.
an all inclusive
So you
package.
didn't
So
have to pay anything. Yes.
nice, nice. That's nice. That's nice. So you didn't go out to any of the other areas. Just stayed
No, yeah.
in the resort.
Yes.
Okay. I've never been to Disney. I'd like to go. I've been to
Really?
yeah. I've never been there. I should. Maybe when I have kids, that would be a good thing to do. I'm
Yes, for
assuming that that
sure.
was fun for them. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. It looks fun. But I've been to Florida. My complaint about Florida is that it's too humid. I can't deal with
Ah,
I can't deal with the humidity. It's too much. It's unbearable. Okay. So let me ask. I'm gonna do. We're gonna do one more of these, if that's okay. Uh, one of the. Let's not say even. Uh, let's not say even a pet peeve, whether it is or not. Right. You're familiar with littering, right?
no, what's that?
Okay. Oh, finally, I found something that you don't know. This is a great moment because you know everything. I've been thinking I'm gonna teach her something.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so littering, this is a big moment for me. Littering is when people throw trash on the ground, and they should throw it in
Yeah.
a bin or take it home or something, and they throw it on the ground. It's a problem more in some places than others. I think some places have a fine if they catch you litter. If the police catch you littering,
Mm,
you have to pay like I don't know, $500 or something. I don't know how much.
yeah.
Um, let's
Yeah.
say hypothetically, um, I mean, would it if we were together in the same place and we're eating uh, burgers and I have a wrapper and I just throw it on the ground in front of you? Would that bother? I think would that bother you?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay. How would you what would you say in that moment to make me pick it up? I mean, would you be very direct? Would you be indirect? What would you do in that situation?
Yes, I would say, excuse me, I think that, I don't know, how do you call what do you call the wrap?
It's called a wrapper.
Wrapper. Excuse me, I think that wrapper falls. You need to grab it and put it
Okay.
wherever it goes
Pick. So you would just say you need to pick that up.
to pick it up. Yes.
You need to, and you would say that to a stranger, or you would say that only to if we we know each other and we're both there. Um, well, you would say that to anybody, or you would just say that to someone you
To,
know?
to anybody. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's a pretty good phrase. If I could, I'd like to modify it a little bit. Now, if we know each other quite well and I do that and you say you need to pick that up, I think that's fine because usually people who know each other have a level of familiarity. So being a little
Mhm.
direct sometimes, hey, pick that up. What are you doing? Pick that up. Don't litter. Being direct like that. Don't litter. What's wrong with you?
Are you nuts?
Yeah, that sort of thing. Being very direct. I think it's usually fine when people know each other. But if you're speaking to a stranger there and you say you need to pick that up, I think they might feel a little defensive against that. They might say, "Who are you? Like, why are you telling me what to do?"
Yeah.
Just only because because it sounds direct. I think softening it with something like,
Don't you think? I
don't
mean,
you think, don't you think, well, even that though, if you say, don't you think you should pick that up, um, that's
quite
okay.
direct.
It might, I'm just trying to put myself in that position. It might feel like, I might feel again a little defensive and no, I don't
Mm.
think so. uh, don't you think you need to pick that up? I think
Okay.
that would
Would you
work.
mind? Would
I
you
think
mind?
that's probably the best phrase. That's the one. Would you mind? Would you mind? And then after mind, we can't say pick. We have to change the phrasing a little bit.
Mm,
Um, how would we phrase it? The rest of it. Would you mind
picking.
picking? After a mind, we always use ing. Picking that up or throwing that away. Yeah, I think that would be
Hmm.
a little better just because when you're dealing with strangers, sometimes being really polite, even though it's a direct thing, makes them at least open to listening to what you want to say. Oh, yeah, okay. Um, there is I think it's a YouTube channel. I think his name is the, uh, I can't remember, something cart police or something like that. Basically, he goes around in front of shopping centers and supermarkets, and he yells at people. Well, he doesn't yell at them, but he does this for people who don't put their carts away. You know how you have the cart thing where you put your cart back? If they don't
Yeah.
do that, he will get walk up to them and he'll say, "Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, please, can you please put your cart back? You didn't put your cart back." But he does it in a way that makes people angry, like, "Hey, do this." And so he sometimes is threatened. People have take pulled guns on him, and people have chased him around and threatened to kill him. And it's all on video. Angry people, so people react very strongly if they feel shame. I think sometimes.
Yes, you're right.
Sometimes he'll say it very nicely, like this: "Would you mind putting your cart back?" And they still get really angry and chase him around. I forget what the channel is called. I wish I could remember. Cart Police, maybe, or Cart something. But it's pretty good channel. Um, okay. Well, I think we've been through some interesting phrases. It's been very interesting to hear your experiences and learn a bit about you and talk a bit about pet peeves. I do have one last question, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, when you're dealing with, if you feel annoyed or frustrated or stressed in general, do you have a way of dealing with it yourself? I mean, how do you deal with stress, whether it's work stress or being upset by something another person did? How do you handle negative emotions?
I go for a walk. I walk. Yes, I train. I do exercise.
Exercise. Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
That's a good one. Okay. What just walking is good?
walk or I go to gym. Yes,
Go to the gym?
yes,
That's actually the same for me. I do the same thing. If I go for a walk, after 30 minutes, I'll feel better no matter what happened.
yes.
Yeah. But now it's winter, it's harder to do that for you, right?
It's difficult. Yes.
Yeah. So you
It's
go to the
getting
gym.
hard.
Do you go to the gym in the winter instead?
Yes, I go to the gym every day. Yes, yes,
You have a gym nearby.
yes. 5 blocks from my house. Yes.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Ever since I moved, I recently left the city and moved
Yeah.
to kind of a rural area. I can't walk anywhere now, unfortunately. I have to drive. Everywhere I go, I have to drive. It's always driving, so that's a little bit annoying. Kind of bothers me. Bit of a
Hmm.
pet peeve.
Yeah.
Well, Aleda, this has been great. Do you have any questions for me before we call it a day?
No, no, no. I don't think so. No,
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay. Great. Well, I think your knowledge of English is really amazing. Pretty much all of the phrases that I wanted to go over, you already knew. I think the only new thing was littering for you that you
Yeah.
weren't familiar with. Do you have any sort of where does that come from? And where do you learn all of the things that you learn? Your English is so good. Where do
Well, I
you?
studied, yes, when I was a kid. I think
Yeah.
from I was 9 to 16. I went to a private institute.
Hmm.
And now, like 2 years ago, I started studying again. Yes, with a group of adults.
Well, that's great. How do you do it? What are some of the keys to learning faster and learning new things so that you can use them? Because I noticed, everything that you're using it very well. You put it in the right place every time. Do you have any general tips for people based on your experience?
I also watch movies and series in English with
Mhm.
subtitles, and I also read books in English
Ah, okay, okay. When you're watching movies with subtitles, do you pause the movie sometimes to write down a
sometimes.
word or phrase,
Yes,
or yeah?
yes, yes, I do that. Yes, I
How
look for
often?
words.
Every few minutes,
No,
or
no, not so often,
not so often?
but when I hear a new word, I look for it. Yes,
Nice. Okay. Okay. That's great. What kind of books are you reading? Fiction, nonfiction?
uh, no, non-fiction. Yes.
Nonfiction. Okay. All right. Nonfiction. Do you have any recommendations? I read a lot of nonfiction books, so I'm always looking for recommendations.
Uh, Sorry, no fiction, not novels.
Oh,
Novels.
fiction. Oh, fiction. Okay. Never mind. I
Yes.
don't want any recommendations. I've got all the fiction books I need. Thank you. No, that's good. Fiction is more it's easier to get into fiction. Once you start, then you feel like you can't stop because the story
Yes.
pulls you in. Sometimes nonfiction is so dry, you have to kind of force yourself to read.
I also have recently joined a book club in English
Nice. Nice. Online?
online. Yes. Now
Sure.
we are talking about meeting, but it has always been online. Yes.
Wow. And that's in your city? It's a local one?
Yes. Some are from here, from my city, and some are from other cities.
Okay.
But
Well, I just
yes,
asked because a lot since there are so many meetups online. Some people aren't even doing it locally, like Meetup
yes.
is a website, and you can search a city. For example, you search Orlando or whatever, and you can find all the book clubs or all the clubs happening
Ah,
there. And since they're online, you could attend an English book club or an English discussion group anywhere in the world to practice English. It doesn't even have to be local.
hmm.
It's a great resource. New York, for example, has tons of them, and you can attend those. I think actually our mutual friend Pablo has been to a couple of the
Ah,
book club events in my book club that I go to. He's attended a few of those. Um, that's great. I love book clubs. I have one every Saturday that I go to in person.
ah.
Is nice. All right. Well, again, Aleda, thank you so much. If you have any questions that you think of later, you can just send me a direct message on WhatsApp. That will be fine. And if you ever want to do another one of these, let me know. We can certainly do that. But I really appreciate your time and thank you so much.
Ah, it was a pleasure. Thank you,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Well,
see you.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Take care. Later. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right. That went well. Wow, her English amazes me. She has such an amazing command of the language. She has such an amazing ability to use everything she knows. A lot of people, I think, will learn things and then it just doesn't, they can't make it come out of their mouths, if that makes sense. But Aleda has an ability to perfectly, naturally use everything that she knows in the right place at the right time, which is awesome. I think more people should learn the way she does. And note her recommendations were you have to practice a lot, watch movies, use subtitles, pause it sometimes, learn something new there in context. Uh, and she reads, making it part of, I think, an English learning lifestyle instead of just sit down for 10 minutes a day and force myself to do something that's horrible and painful. No, make it part of your lifestyle. All right. Well, that was fun. That was enjoyable. Hopefully, you guys got some good new phrases from that. Renato says, I bought your English courses on Udemy. Yes, awesome. Renato, that's great. Appreciate that. You're welcome to check out my courses. I do have courses on Udemy. You can also find courses on my website. On Udemy, you can, if you like, buy them individually, one by one, which is totally fine. On my website, you can sign up for a membership, a yearly membership, which includes all of them. And so either one, I guess, works. Either one works. Either one is okay. Amar says, we don't usually tip waiters here. An American friend came over to visit and started tipping people, left it in the center. Now every time they see me, they expect a tip. Yeah, well, sorry about that, Amar. Too bad. Okay. Let's see if I've missed any questions here. I really enjoyed doing that class. Octavio, hi. I don't think I'm seeing any English questions here. If anyone has any questions about excuse me, if anyone has any questions about anything that we talked about, any of the words and phrases that we talked about in the class, just let me know. In the meantime, I do have some other things I want to go on to. I want to continue on the general topic of pet peeves. I've got a video. Now, last time we did a live class, I was having issues with the sound of the videos I was trying to play. So hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does, well, boo-hoo. But what I'd like to do is check out some pet peeves that people generally have. I found a video online that has a list, sort of one of those classic top 10 lists. Let me know if you think it. Let me know if you think it works for you. You listen to me from Udemy as well. A lot of people hear from Udemy. Great, awesome. Yeah. I think you had a break for a few months. Nice to see your videos again. That's right. I took a break because I was in the process of building a house, and now that process is done. And you can see it here behind me. No, this is a fake house. I'm in front of a green screen. Look at this. Illusion broken. What? Should I change? I mean, this is the classic one that I like. I like this one better because it's a little bit moody, right? Kind of got a moody feeling. If I had this office, that'd be awesome. Look at the sun coming through the window there. It's kind of got a gloomy feeling. It's got a very 90s vibe. That's definitely an older computer, right? Let's see what else I've got here. I could do a beach. This is terrible. This looks like a green screen. This is no good. I hate this. I don't like this one either. Ugh. You know what makes a green screen look a little more natural is if you blur it a bit. And then if it's blurry, it looks like it's kind of actually behind you. But this is still not a good one. This one is bad. All right. back to my bedroom, my 90s bedroom, where I trade stonks and eat ramen noodles. And I go out once every 3 days to buy a whole carton of cigarettes. And I sometimes send faxes to people. When I need something, I'll send them a fax. I'm usually on my late 90s computer checking charts and graphs. Sometimes I'll go stare out the window, think about life. And yeah, that's my 90s stunk trader life. Turgut says, why are you not active on Instagram? That's a good question. I'm not a big Instagram fan. However, I would say if you want to kind of follow me on Instagram, the best thing to do would be to actually follow my wife on Instagram because she does share things with me in them, but it's not me, it's my wife. So let's see here. Fax is a thing. People still use it all. Yeah, I know. It's not. I mean, it's not really a thing. But give me a break. It's kind of a thing, but not really a thing. Not as much of a thing as it used to be. I had a cough. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Still, I think maybe I got COVID before, and I'm having some lingering effects. Maybe not. Okay, I'm gonna open up my wife's Instagram here if I can find it, and I'll share that. And you can add her if you want, and that will also be kind of like following me because I don't post. I haven't posted anything in like 3 years. Esme, you want to join a class like Aleda did? Yeah. Well, reach out to me, and we can talk about that. All right. So let me share this. Here we go. This is my wife's Instagram. Her name is Mushroom Stir. So if you follow this lady here, I took this picture as well. If you follow this lady here on Instagram, you can kind of follow me a little bit. This is a picture of my cat. His name is Circle. He's very cute. Look how cute he is. This is a brunch restaurant we went to in London. Look at the staircase. That's crazy. Some of the buildings and streets in London are really beautiful. It's one of the hotels we stayed at. This window is from a building that was built over 1,000 years ago. Crazy. I love cats too. This place we also went to in London is the most expensive cocktail I've ever seen in my entire life. It's insanely expensive. I couldn't believe it. I was depressed for several days after going here. This is a couple of photos from the new house. Just one photo. That's a cool donut thing. This donut thing is really cool. It's really comfortable. View out the window. Nice. Sunset out the back window after a rain. Beautiful. That's the front yard. Still growing some grass, so it doesn't look great. Yep. There's the same cat. My beautiful wife. Yep. This fireplace. So the way it worked is we had some standard stuff that came with the house, and then but we were working with a builder, so we got to add stuff. So we would say, hey, could you do a fireplace? But he's cool, so we didn't have to design it ourselves. We could say, show 3 pictures and say, something like this. Can you do that? And he would just say, yeah, I can do that. And then he would just figure it out and do it himself. We didn't have to do any separate designing, which was really cool. This is kind of the living room area here at the sofa and the TV area. It's pretty cool, pretty comfortable area. I really like it. This was back in the winter, so that's Leda and I were talking about how bad the winters are. Well, she said that it just gets cold in the winter. But where I live now, it gets really cold in the winter, and there's lots and lots of snow. This cute circle boy, circle cat. Look at his pink nose. He's the cutest cat in the world. Well, if you're allergic to cats, that's definitely a problem. This is also back in the winter. This is the pear orchard in the backyard. The backyard has it's a backyard, and then it's a pear orchard. It grows pears there, but they don't grow in the winter, obviously. Do you see this line here? This is a propane line. So we haven't actually done it yet, but that's going to be propane, gas propane fireplace. Yeah, that's the living room area. Beautiful, right? I like it. I like it. This is a long time ago. This was taken back in 2015. Only 2 years after I got married. Yeah, anyway. Oh yeah, this is when we first moved in. Before we had any appliances. You can see there are even no countertops there. The kitchen area. No countertops, no refrigerator. We actually lived in the house for almost a month before we even got those kitchen appliances. Crazy. It's a black house. This was before it was finished. Not quite finished here, but anyway. Oh, it's a donut place nearby where you design your own donuts. These donuts are crazy. You can put anything on them. So weird, but delicious. Also delicious. Anything else? Is this multiple pictures? What's going on here? These are my legs, as you can see. These are my socks. These are my legs. Okay, looks like a smoothie and a coffee. Nice. All right. Anyway, yeah. If you want to follow me, follow Mushroomster. All right? All right. We've been talking about pet peeves, right? So I thought we would just take a look at a pet peeve video. 10 pet peeves from Classic Watch Mojo. And let me know which ones you agree with. Let me know which ones you don't agree with. Which ones actually annoy you. I think these are all, most of them I think are fairly common. Okay, so let's take a look. Hopefully the sound is working. Sound, you better work. If not, I'm going to be angry. Come on, sound. Here we go. Sound. Yeah, we're good.
Wow, that drives us nuts.
That's the phrase we learned. Drives us nuts.
Guys! Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 pet peeves.
Don't butt! Who do you think you're fooling? I just saw you.
For this list, we're counting down those things that happen in everyday life that, though relatively minor, bother people more than they should.
Yeah, we also talked about that phrase. It bothers me when, it irritates me when, it drives me nuts when, it gets on my nerves when, right? They haven't even got to the list. Get to the list! What do we, this is from Barney.
Number 10, people who don't use turn signals.
Right.
Ain't that? What? This guy changing lanes without signaling.
In modern society,
Changing lanes without signaling is bad. Not using a turn signal when you're driving, that's very rude. I even use it. This bothers me so much when people don't do it that even when I'm in my driveway turning into the garage, I use it then. In my driveway, I use it to turn into the garage. I sometimes put on the turn signal. Yesterday, I almost got into a car accident. Very, very close. So I was driving down the highway, Well, it was sort of not a highway, but it was a fairly busy road. And I was driving on the right side of the road, and then there's a road that connects to that road, that enters out right into that road. But you only have one lane to drive on. One lane going this way, one lane going this way. So this car is here and wanted to turn onto the lane I was in, right, to drive in front of me. And wait, let me actually, you know what I could do? I think I could draw it. I could draw it. Let me draw it. Right, so, hey, where's my tools? Where's my tools? Weird. So here's the road. There's the median. I'm driving this way. Zzz. And there are other cars coming this way. And there's another road that connects like this. And there was a car here. And the car wanted to go like this. Right? Now, if there are no cars coming, go ahead. But I was driving this way. So what happened was, just about like this. I was here. This car immediately just pulled out in front of me. And if I hadn't slammed on the brakes as hard as I could, I would have hit the back of this car and got into an accident. And so I honked for about 5 seconds. I didn't do anything else. I just wanted to let them know that that was insane. And I mean, it was just crazy. It was the closest I think I've ever come to a car accident. I've been in car accidents before, but this is the closest I have come to getting in a car accident without actually getting into a car accident, if that makes sense, right? So yeah, let's go back to the pet. Back to the pet peeves.
All but a few of us spend a significant amount
All
of time
right. I don't need
behind
the
the wheel
explanation.
of a car, surrounded by
I
other
appreciate the
people
video,
in
but
their car.
Hates you.
Number 9. People who don't say please or thank you.
Some people are really strict about this one. Make sure you say
Many
please and
people
thank
would
you all the
agree that
time.
basic manners
I guess
have
it's
eroded
polite, but
over the
I don't know if
years,
it's a pet
much to the
peeve for
chagrin
me.
of many
If
of
someone
us.
just says,
The words you're looking for are thank and you.
if someone doesn't say thank you if I do something, I'm okay with it. I'm not too strict about that one. Fine, don't say please and thank you. I can understand how people would have the pet peeve for sure, but I don't need it. All right, let's see number 8.
Number 8. People who cut in line.
Is everyone in this line an asshole?
Excuse me?
Is everyone you just cut in front of an asshole?
No.
So it's just you then?
As children in school, we are routinely forced to stand in an orderly line, and oftentimes
Yeah, I mean that's a big one, of course. People getting in front. I don't even know if that's ever happened to me. For example, in the United States, I don't think I've ever experienced someone cutting in front of me in line. Maybe in school, but it's just so uncommon. Nobody does it. So yeah, that would be a pet peeve if it ever happened to me, but it never happens. It happened to me traveling a couple times in other countries. But I was told when I was in those places, it's okay, actually. It happens. And so I couldn't complain because it's not my country. Who am I to say? Cutting in line. Yep.
knock the back of your seat.
Hey.
Back of your
Oh, yeah.
seat. Number 7. People who kick or knock the back of your seat.
Hey, come here. If you don't stop screwing around back there, this is what I'm gonna do with you.
Whether in an airplane or a movie theater, when you're trying to relax and enjoy your surroundings and the person behind you kicks the back of your seat, it completely disrupts your experience.
As I shared with Aleda earlier, this happened to me very recently. The flight back from London, there was a kid who was kicking the back of my seat constantly, and it drove me nuts. And actually, I understand. Okay, kids, they are crazy. They make noise. They can't control their emotions. That's fine. But after about an hour of this, I turned around and I looked at the dad, who wasn't doing anything. He was just watching a movie. And I said, "Hey," I said, "the kicking is not my favorite." That's what I said. "The kicking is not my favorite." And he said, and he wasn't. This is the pet peeve part for me. He said, "I'm trying." But he wasn't trying. He really wasn't trying. I get it. You can't control them screaming, but you can keep their legs down and prevent them from kicking the chair violently for an hour. And he wasn't trying. He was watching a movie. So the pet peeve part for me, the thing that annoyed me, was that he wasn't trying. But he just said, "I'm trying. I'm trying." So that was annoying. That bothered me for sure. This this is a really good Weird Al song. I think it's called Weird Al. I'll look it up later. Just spelling?
It's hard to decide which is worse. People who speak or write so poorly they're difficult to understand, or people who jump at the opportunity to correct them. We're not going to choose.
Word crime.
I don't care if Richard Feynman was a purple leprechaun who lived in my butt.
Kenny meant if he were a purple leprechaun. Kenny forgot to use the subjunctive.
If you're trying to make a point and
Subjunctive, yes. Using grammar correctly. I don't really get annoyed when people use grammar incorrectly, generally, because there's a lot of flexibility. And yeah, okay, you don't use subjunctive, the subjunctive mood perfectly. You say was when you should say were. And, I don't really care so much. I know I'm an English teacher and I should care, but it doesn't annoy me. It doesn't bother me when people use inaccurate grammar. I do want to go over later some things that do bother me in particular. So there are some exceptions to that, things that really annoy me, but those are mostly native English speakers that bother me, not English learners. Most of the common mistakes that English learners make, I'm actually doing a course on this right now. I'm happy to help correct those things, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't annoy me. I'm fine with it. Couldn't care less.
really loudly in public.
Loud noises! Loud!
Number 5. People who speak really loudly in public.
Loud noises!
The group of people who feel the need to engage in conversations or phone calls in public so loudly that the rest of us have no chance to ignore them are...
I don't know. Does this one bother you? Loud. Sometimes, I guess, on the bus, if someone is not aware of how loudly they're speaking on the phone, that one can be annoying. Yeah. But just in general, if people are talking loudly, I don't know if that one bothers me so much. Not so much.
Of annoyance.
Number 4. People who clip their nails in public.
Nope, don't care.
Yes, you're the one that's clipping your nails in the subway.
This one is almost...
That's fine. If you want it, it's weird. It's strange behavior. It's crazy. I wouldn't do it. But if someone is clipping their nails on the subway or in public, that's fine. I couldn't care less. Doesn't bother me at all.
Number 3. People who talk or ask questions at the movies.
Hey, can you guys maybe be quiet? Why don't you switch seats with us? If it's bothering you so much, just switch seats. You know what I mean? Let's just switch seats.
Sometimes movies are hard to understand. We get it.
Talking during movies, if it's before the movie, during the previews, and people say, "Oh, I didn't like that. I don't think that's going to be good." Or, "Oh, that one's going to be great. Oh, I can't wait." That's fine because it's before the movie. During the movie, if it's a whisper or two, just, "Oh, wow," just a few things during the movie, it's not so bad, I guess. But if it's a lot, if someone's making a quick comment about the movie to a friend nearby and I hear it during the movie, I really don't mind. However, if someone is carrying on a conversation that's an ongoing thing, and especially if it's not about the movie and they're just talking and talking and talking about something else, that will get on my nerves. That will bother me. That will absolutely drive me crazy. Hate that.
Can we just go?
What's this one?
Number 2, people who walk slowly.
Better hurry up, Mr. Tucker.
I'm coming.
When you find yourself stuck behind a slow walker who's impeding.
No, this does not bother me at all. The world needs to slow down. It's too fast. In New York, they have that classic phrase, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Someone's trying to walk and someone's getting in the way. They're too slow. New York City is such an insane rush. Everyone's in a hurry. Everybody's trying to go somewhere. Everybody is frantic and they're almost late for something. And I think it adds to the anxiety that people have, the stress that people have. So one of the reasons that I left is that it just has that constant push, hurry, move, let's go sort of feeling. So I have no issues with people slowing down. Nothing is so important that I can't be blocked or impeded for 2 seconds by someone who's walking slowly. Nothing's that important. If it is, I will run around you. It's not that big of a deal. This one, it's actually a pet peeve that people get upset at people who walk slowly. That's my pet peeve. My pet peeve is people who have a pet peeve about people walking slowly, for sure.
Your path and is completely
Okay, here's
ambivalent
number 1
to
then.
it, you may want to snap. Number 1, people who chew loudly or eat with their mouths open.
Yeah.
There's nothing more annoying than when you're trying to enjoy a meal and you can hear or see every bite someone else is taking. Whereas many of the pet peeves on this list are based on your reaction to someone else's reasonable actions, this one is more about other people lacking table manners than you being a crazy person.
Damn, little lady. You sure can't put it away.
We will all.
Right. Yeah, I can see that one. That's gross. I mean, when you eat and your mouth is open, it makes a lot of noises. That's why I don't get people who like mukbangs. You know, mukbangs are very popular now. People who eat huge meals. And there's slurping. There's that sound, and then there's the because they're talking while they're doing the mukbang usually. Well, some of the channels, they talk while they do the mukbang. And it's horrible for me. I don't like to look at people chewing food. Why would I want to watch a 40-minute video of someone chewing food, shoving food into their mouths, and talking to me at the same time about nonsense? It's gross. Especially when the food that they're eating is usually gross, because that's how they get views, right? They're eating some like 30 dead spiders or something like that. To each their own, I guess. You know, there are some things I watch online that people think are weird and gross, so I guess I shouldn't complain. But yep, I don't like to see people chewing food. I don't like to hear people chewing food, and I definitely don't like mukbangs. So I do agree with number 1. The weird thing that I have sometimes watched online that some people would say is gross is you know that channel Pimple Popper? The lady who she's a doctor. I think she has a show on TLC. So I'm not alone, because millions of people watch the videos. They popping blackheads and pimples. I have been known to watch a few of those videos. I admit it. And it is part of it is, yeah, it's gross, but there's something satisfying. It's satisfying. Somehow it's satisfying a little bit. Not very often. I don't watch it that often, but I have. I don't not enjoy those. All right, so those are some common pet peeves, and I agree with many of them, except for the slow walking one, which I deeply, deeply disagree with. That one. All right. Let's see if we've got any questions missing. And where are my... Hold on. I need to find my tools because I want to talk about something else because we're on the theme of today is pet peeves is what I'm trying to say. And I need to make sure I have my tools here with my brush and my pen so that I can do this correctly. There we go. And no. 1 second. No. Give me a second, guys. I just need to fix something. Tool presets, tools. There we go. Hey. Amazing. Does this look okay now? If I pop over here. Oh, I'm not lined up. Oh no. There we go. I'm lined up now. Amazing. I think they need to zoom in a little bit though. Okay. All right. That's good. We're going to get to something that I think is interesting. Pet peeves around English. What things bother me that maybe don't bother others, or things that are irritating. We're going to talk about that in a second. Let's see. Sorry, teacher. Noises can be plural, like noise can be plural like noises. Yes, noises is correct. You can say noise or noises. It can be singular and it can be plural. Esme says, I stuck only with how I can when I comes to ask a question. Any questions on how to ask questions? I'm not sure I understand your question there, Esme. A little confused, but maybe try again. Try again on that one. All right. Yes, so everyone has things that bother them. Everybody has things that get on their nerves, that irritate them. And that is also true with the way that people speak, things that people say. Now, you might think that as an English teacher, the things that bother me, that get on my nerves about speaking English, are things that English learners do that annoy me, right? Mistakes they make that bother me. And after talking with an English learner, I go away thinking, what an idiot. Those mistakes. That couldn't be farther from the truth. I couldn't care less about most things. I help English learners improve their English. That's what I do. That's my job. That's why I make courses, which you can check out in the links in the description. But I feel nothing about it in terms of frustration or anything like that. It's fine. I'm happy to help. Happy to point out things. If I see often in one of my more popular courses, people write a description of a house and they put that in the Q&A section, and I usually check it. And there's a lot of mistakes, a lot of things wrong. I don't care. It's fine. What I want to talk about are things that do bother me, most of which are done by native English speakers, in fact. Okay? These are things that get on my nerves. Now, this will help us learn a few things about correct pronunciation, a few things about correct grammar versus common grammar. But really, it's things that native English speakers do, okay? So most of them are. So let's pop over here to the blackboard. and we're going to be talking about some English pet peeves. As you probably know, a pet peeve is something that bothers you, something that annoys you, something that irritates you. This is called a pet peeve. Now, the first one is, let's put these two together, okay? I'm going to write two words here. Espresso, and then the other one is now, this one is usually written in its abbreviated form, and I believe that's the cause of this one being often mispronounced. It's just written as ETC, something like and so on, right? Now, most, let's say American native English speakers, I can't speak for British English speakers. I can only speak for Americans. They will not pronounce this as it should be pronounced, which is espresso. Espresso. They pronounce it as a similar word, express, which means fast, right? And then they add the O at the end. So most of the time they'll say espresso. And I think, in my mind, what I think is happening is that they think that the name comes from the fact that coffee is fast or something, and they're adding an O. I don't know what's going on in there. But anyway, it's pronounced espresso, not espresso. Okay? Espresso, not espresso. It's not fast. Okay? It's slow. Coffee is slow. Coffee is made slowly. This one is similar. But I don't know why for this one exactly. It's often pronounced with an X. So people pronounce it as etc. Etc. Almost always pronounced as etc. It drives me crazy. I don't know why it drives me crazy, but it really, really bothers me. Etc. 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 And then I say etc. 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 It makes me angry. And the correct pronunciation, I understand, is a little bit difficult. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's because it's kind of a tongue twister. It's pronounced et cetera, and you could say et cetera. So you hear people say correctly et cetera and et cetera. Et, as long as it's et at the beginning, is okay. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Etc., etc., etc. I prefer etc. personally. And I know that's a little bit of a mouthful, but that's how to say it. Again, you never see it written in its full form. You always just see it written in its abbreviation, ETC. And maybe that's why it's always mispronounced. But it drives me crazy. All right, the next one is a different type for sure. This one is a common mistake that English learners make. Okay, so there's basically one thing that English learners often do that does drive me crazy, that does make me angry, and I see it and and it makes me so mad. Okay, here's what it is. Okay, I'm just going to write two sentences. We went home. Don't pay attention too much to the sentences, all right? We went home. And you have to imagine I'm typing this out, all right? It was late. All right. Anything? Does anything bother you about this? And imagine this is typed. I've tried to accurately write this so that it looks like how it would look if it were typed. What is this? What is this? What is going on here? If you put this in a grammar checker, like Grammarly, which you should do, you should always write with Grammarly. Always. Because it corrects things. This would immediately be caught. Okay? All you have to do is, and the reason it drives me crazy is it's because there's no excuse for not knowing it. I get that verbs are confusing and it's easy to mix up the tense. I get it. Okay? But I see it all the time. Someone who's getting their master's degree, who's a non-native English speaker, sends me a thing and they say, "Hey, Luke, can you please check this? By the way, please don't send me your writing to edit. I'm a teacher, not an editor. But sometimes a friend will, please do me this favor, Luke. Please check this for me." Getting a master's degree, very good English speaker. Not native, but very, very good. And it looks like this with the punctuation. And why? It's so easy. There's no space after the end of the sentence, okay? The period goes right there. Then there's one space, boop, and then you start the next sentence. There's no space at the end of the sentence. Then there's one space, not this, and then you start the sentence. All right? And if it is a comma, let's just ignore the sentence here, and it's this. I often see the same thing, and sometimes I see two spaces, a space here and a space here, and then there's another word. It's really easy. There's no space after the sentence. Then there's one space, then the first letter of the next sentence. And this is another one which I often see, which drives me crazy. You have to capitalize the sentence. I know this. I feel like this is preschool stuff. You know this, okay? If you want to be taken seriously and you're writing a resume and you start a sentence with a lowercase letter, your resume is going to be thrown immediately in the trash, okay? I'm going to take it and I'm going to throw it in the trash because I see a lowercase letter at the start of the sentence. Because you're not a serious person if you do that, and that's your resume, all right? So and it's easy stuff. It's so easy. All you have to do is put it in Grammarly, and the Grammarly will say blah 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 blah. Just fix that, boom, done, easy, no problem. It's so easy, all right? Okay, that's all. That's my rant about punctuation. Just have a good punctuation, and there's no excuse not to, because you can learn it in 10 minutes. It's not hard, okay? Okay? Next one. We're going back to the issues with native English speakers, all right? And you might be able to guess that I would say this one. Overusing like and I mean, and often they go together. I mean, we might be taking a break for a few months, but like it's gonna be fine. And I think like if we just work on ourselves, I mean, it's something that people do. Like, do you know what I mean? How does that sound to you? When I hear people talking like that, and it is becoming the norm, my immediate thought is dumb. Maybe they're not dumb. Everybody uses thinking words. I catch myself using like once in a while. It's part of the language. However, in my view, personal opinion here, okay? I'm just saying my personal opinion. This is no rule or anything like this. Personal Luke opinion. If you use things like I like and I mean and literally, and then we were like, and I mean like we literally like, you could almost make a sentence with just those. I will judge you. Okay? I don't want to hang out with you because I don't think I could have a good conversation with you because I don't think that you're very intelligent. And if you are intelligent, you're hiding your intelligence behind all the dumb sounds you're making. And so if you want other people who are just as intelligent as you to want to have a conversation with you, then you can try slowing down a bit and not choosing so many imprecise words that don't have meaning. Like, I mean, like, literally those words. Okay? It's not that hard, but it takes breaking the habit. If you're an English learner and you're starting to get into this habit, just be aware that there are some people out there in this world who don't really enjoy it that much and maybe won't want to have a conversation with you as much if you do it too much. So, like, just think about it. I mean, it's not that hard, literally. Okay? Okay. So that's one for me. That's a pet peeve. It feels so good to let out all of my English rage here. This is very therapeutic for me. This has been very healthy. I feel a lot better now that I'm able to talk about this stuff. But we're not done yet. All right, here we go. Let's keep going. Now, the next ones are not so serious, but still things that bother me a little bit. Little grammar points, okay? And this is, again, mostly done by native speakers. I should have taken it back. All right, what's the issue here? Well, it's wrong. The grammar is wrong. If you wanted to correct this, you would change of to have here. But why is it that many people use of instead of have? I believe that the root is the contraction should have. So actually, the word should and have can be contracted. Contraction is when you take 2 or 3 words, you crunch them together, and you combine them using an apostrophe, which is the little mark, right? So that would be SHOULD apostrophe VE. That's pronounced should've. So if you listen to that carefully, should've, 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 the v of that sound does sound like the pronunciation of OF, of, should've, should've, should've. So I think what's going on here is that people native English speakers have taken the contraction should've, which means should have, and have mixed it up with OF. And now when they write it out, they might write out should of. And what they're saying in their head when they say it is OF of. I think that's what's going on. So it does bother me. I mean, what can I do? People do it all the time, but I have to admit, it gets on my nerves. It makes me crazy. Next one, last one of these little grammar ones here. I seen it. I been there. Now this I would describe as redneck English. This is, I think, an education issue. This is just a matter of not being super well educated. And as a result, you talk like this. No criticism at my uneducated brothers and sisters out there, but I grew up around this. I grew up in an area with a lot of what we describe affectionately as rednecks. And so around me, there were a lot of people speaking like this. I seen it. I've been there. I seen it. So this here is a special form of a verb known as, I'm just going to write PP if that's okay. It's known as a past participle. And you've seen probably most of the common ones. Seen, been, done, taken, eaten, gone. Instead of the standard forms like see and saw, right? See being the simple tense and saw being the past tense, right? So what we have to fix here is simply a contraction with VE, because the past participle follows, if we're using this specific tense structure, the past participle follows the verb have in the present perfect tense. So the present perfect tense structure goes, I have, and then the past participle, And then if the past participle is been, then that might be followed by an ing verb. Or she has. For example, we might change have to has if we change the subject, right, to she. So then it would be she has seen it. She has been living there. So if it's been, then we can add the ing. If it's not been, then we just leave it as that past participle. Okay, so that's the basic structure. Now, if it's she, then the contraction is she's. So I think with that sort of redneck English, there would be the mistake probably wouldn't happen. She's been there. She's seen it. Okay, but it happens with I seen it. I've been there. Where this gets missed or cut out or clipped. And I don't know if they know about it or if they just don't care and they're just being lazy, which is fine. Anyway, make sure that's there. I've seen it. I've been there. Okay? Not that hard. Easy enough. Now, the last one is more of an opinion. And this is the last one we're going to look at. And this is going to be maybe a little controversial. This is prepositions at the ends of sentences. Every English teacher that I had in school said, you're not supposed to put prepositions at the ends of sentences. Like what, I would say? Well, maybe something like, I put it on. Or if it's a question, what did you put it on? Okay? Or let's say, which hotel, I'm not going to write the whole thing. Which hotel should we stop at? Okay. Now, so what happened was more than 100 years ago, I forget the dude's name. He was writing a grammar book. And one of the things that he said was going to be correct was that it's going to be incorrect to put prepositions at the ends of sentences. The problem is that the way people speak is to put prepositions at the ends of sentences all the time. And it's not like what I talked about before, where it's just maybe a certain small group of people have decided, well, we don't care about that. So that bothers me because I don't want to sound like that. This one is everybody uses prepositions at the ends of sentences when they're speaking. People say, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on. What did you put it on? What did you put it on? If it's the temperature, what did you put it on, or what did you put it at? Which hotel should we stop at? So the grammar teachers or the English teachers that were telling me this were reciting this information that they got from this book. You're not supposed to put a preposition at the end of the sentence. You're not supposed to put the preposition at the end of the sentence. But they weren't really thinking about it, because they would, and I would catch them doing it when I was in school. You just did it. You just put a preposition at the end of a sentence, which everybody does, because everybody does put prepositions at the end of sentences. What should we say? Should we say that that guy who decided that over 100 years ago and put it in a book is just someone we can ignore and this is fine? Or should we say, no, let's listen to this random guy who wrote this book? I think let's ignore that guy. Let's forget that guy. Let's put prepositions at the ends of sentences and not worry about it. That's my opinion. And I think if anybody really thinks about it, that is their opinion too, because everybody, when they're speaking, can catch themselves putting prepositions at the ends of sentences. All right? So those are my English pet peeves. If you come up with any others you'd like to share with me, I would love to hear them. I would love to know more about them. Pop those in the comments. Also, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe. That helps out a lot. And of course, if you want to really get serious about your English, you can check out my full courses in the links in the description. All right. Raphael says, that should have thing made me crazy in the beginning when I started learning English. Teachers saying it's should have, and I was like, but I see native people writing should have everywhere. Yes, Right. But I don't think it's become so common, like the prepositions at the end of sentences things, Raphael. It's tricky, right? At what point do you say, well, it's so common, just let it go. Just be cool, relax. Well, that's what I would say about prepositions. Yeah, be cool, relax. Everybody uses the preposition at the end of the sentence. Don't worry about it. In the case of should've, though, not only does it actually break a hard grammar rule and cause potential confusion, it's not widely used enough to be something that I can feel comfortable saying, who cares, right? If everybody starts doing it, maybe eventually, yeah, I guess that's fine, because languages do evolve over time. And I am aware of that, and I think that's great. But I don't think that this is an example of that. I think this is just a sort of, it doesn't make sense. You can confuse people saying should've if you do that. Teachers still say it. Well, I think those teachers... Where are those teachers? And is anyone throwing tomatoes at them? Okay. Any questions that I missed? Mr. Yam says, sorry, teacher, I was going down the road means on the road or could mean direction. Yeah, down the road, just you are on the road, but you're going in a direction which is probably straight, I would say. What does carrying on a conversation mean? It just means having a conversation, continuing on a conversation, an ongoing conversation. Do you know what is kielbasa? Kielbasa is a type of sausage, I believe. Yeah, kielbasa sausage. It's also a Tenacious D song, which has a different meaning. Every generation keeps changing their language. That is absolutely true. I totally agree. Languages change because people experiment, play around all the time. That's how languages change. And that's good. We wouldn't have Spanish, Romanian, French, Italian, and Portuguese if we didn't have that experimentation happening in faraway provinces in the Roman Empire, which started to crumble and collapse, leaving those provinces kind of out of touch of Rome, allowing them to experiment more, develop into unique cultures, and eventually grow languages based on the original Latin. Without that experimentation that happens on a daily basis between people, yeah, languages wouldn't change. But it's also a battle of opinions. So, for example, the like issue. I've taken a stand. I think, and not that people use like, I use it. My opinion is, if you use it too much, you sound like a dum-dum. You sound stupid. That's my opinion. That's part of this war, this shifting, bending, undulating thing, which is language, that changes over time. I admit it's changing over time. I prefer it to not change in the direction of like, I'm like. I don't like it because I don't think it sounds good. I don't think it's articulate. I don't think you sound educated. So I prefer it to go the other way, and I'm standing on that side, and I believe that that side will win. I think the ums and the likes are going to be fade out or become less, something else. I hope they're not here to stay, but we'll see. The noun you said was frenetic, about the New York City. No, I don't think I said frenetic. Frantic? The adjective? Mary is here. What the heck? Mary? The infamous Mary. Wow. 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 Such a rare thing. Playing petty. I don't know what that means. Playing petty. I'm not sure. Couldn't tell you. I'm just curious if there's a... Oh, frantic. Yeah, frantic just means sort of excited or furious or something like that. High emotional state. Playing petty. I'm going to look that up. Let's see. Playing petty. Tom Petty. I won't back down. What's the context? The free dictionary. Go to the free dictionary and see if we can find definition of the number 3. Ha ha. What the heck is that behind me? Oh, that's durian. Playing petty. Not found. Not found. I was here right when you went live for the first time. Wow. Really? Were you really? Are you sure about that? That was a long time ago. That was years and years ago. Please forget that. Huh. Describing a character. Well, if someone is, I mean, I can define the word petty. What I'm having trouble with is the I'm having trouble with the phrase playing petty. I don't know what playing petty means. Petty is a specific I mean, that's just an adjective.
Petty.
Petty. Petty.
Petty.
Petty.
Petty.
Petty.
Petty.
Petty. Of small importance. Showing an excessive concern with unimportant matters or minor details, especially in a narrow-minded way. Petty partisanship. Yeah. It's just the playing part. Last week. I thought you meant years ago when I first started live streaming. My first live stream was on a Chinese streaming app. And I went to Central Park and walked around and asked people questions and bought bagels. That was fun. I should do another one of those where I'm... What do you think about the live streams where I go out and do something or go somewhere? You like those or not? Or not? Many natives like celebrities. Kristen Stewart used like a lot. Yeah, I think that's probably true. And yet they're still successful. Amazing. Let me go back to YouTube here. I want to search. I disappeared for 6 months. That's right. I sure did. I disappeared for 6 months. I'm going to go to... We tried to play Schoolhouse Rock last week, and I'm going to try again. I was having issues with my computer. It wasn't playing my computer sound. Now it is. So here we go.
Imagine if manufacturing automation was simple.
Schoolhouse
Introducing
Rock.
Vention. One platform to design, automate, order, and deploy.
As your body grows big,
It works. It works.
it's great to learn.
Cause knowledge is power.
It's Schoolhouse Rocking, the tip off the block of your favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
To begin our show, unpack your adjectives.
Before we get to these, when I was growing up, you learn grammar, you learn things. It's in the air. You learn it naturally by your environment. But you don't always know what those things are called. And when you learn something like grammar, it's often hard to remember. These cartoons, Schoolhouse Rock, they did politics, grammar, I think, mathematics, different topics to teach grammar. And I wanted to share a couple of these with you. These are not how people learn the grammar, but how people learn what the grammar is called and maybe how to explain it, how to describe it. So this is one about adjectives. It's a song to help you remember. Okay, here we go. This is actually a really good song.
Got home from camping last spring. Saw people, places, and things. We barely had arrived. Friends asked us to describe.
This is an extremely catchy song, by the way. This is actually a really good song. Let me get subtitles? No, not available.
The people, places, and every last thing. So we unpacked our adjectives.
What we got? What adjectives we got?
Frustrating first.
Frustrating. That's a good one. Classic. It's interesting that that's the first one she brings out. She's smiling. She's got the turtle there. Good friends. But what's frustrating about that? I would want to maybe sit down with her and ask a few questions, perhaps, to see why that's the first thing she focused on. A little pessimistic, a little glass half empty, or whatever.
Reached in and found the word worst.
Whoa! She's being very negative. Hey, turn it around. Let's see some positive adjectives, please.
Soggy and next topic foggy and
soggy, foggy, worst, frustrating.
Tell them my tale.
What good things happen? Be positive.
I'd unpacked my adjectives. Adjectives are words you use to really describe things. Handy words to carry around. Days are sunny or they're rainy. Boys are dumb or else they're brainy. Adjectives can show you which way.
That's right. Don't be judgmental. This guy looks like he looks like kind of a meathead. And so we assume he's dumb, but actually he's the smart one. But that doesn't mean the other guy is automatically dumb. Maybe they both...
To help us compare things, to say how thin, how fat, how short, how tall. Girls who are tall get taller. Boys who are small can get smaller. Till one is the...
Right, but those are... Oh, that's an interesting thing that they're doing here. To turn the... There's adjectives that can become comparatives and superlatives. Comparatives being... the words that we use to compare: taller, smaller, shorter, bigger, faster, more interesting, less exciting. And then superlatives: biggest, oldest, fastest, most interesting, least exciting. We turn adjectives into comparatives and superlatives.
Tallest and others the smallest of all. We hiked along without care. Then we ran into a bear.
Oh no.
He was a hairy bear. He was...
I love that. He was a hairy bear. That's true. He has such a small head. Look at his head.
A scary bear. We beat a hasty retreat from his lair. And described him with adjectives.
Whoa! Boy, that was one big ugly bear.
You can even make adjectives out of the other parts of speech, like verbs or nouns.
True.
All you have to do is tack on an ending, like ick or ish or airy.
Very good point here. We talk about, we have suffixes, and suffixes allow us to change the form of words. So if you see NESS, that's a noun suffix. If you see ly, well, that's probably going to be an adverb suffix. IC, ISH, and ARY, those are adjective suffixes. I just did a lesson on this in an upcoming course that I'm doing.
For example, this boy can grow up to be a huge man, but still have a boyish face. Boy is a noun, but the ending ish makes it an adjective. Boyish. That describes the huge man's face. Get it?
Boyish.
Next time you
Whoa,
go
look at that
on
goat.
a
That's a
trip.
huge goat. on the perspective, think about how big that goat has to be. That goat's probably 50 feet tall. Insane.
Remember this little tip. The minute you get back, they'll ask you this and that. You can describe people, places, and things. Simply unpack your adjectives. You can do it with adjectives. Tell
I'm going to guess here, hippie, this guy. A hippie is in very large hips. Or compensating. Compensating, yes. Oh. Friendly, okay. There we go. That's a really good song, actually. I really like that song. I would listen to that song for the song itself. And it's just great. I love it. Oh, but it is rivaled by Conjunction Junction. So let's see if we can watch Conjunction Junction. What's your function? Learn about those. We'll just watch one more quickly here. We've got interjections. We've got Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla pronouns. We might watch a little bit of that. That's a classic. I'm having a strong feeling of nostalgia here watching these. We've got verb that's what's happening. So many of these nouns. Prepositions. Oh, it's tempting to watch all of these, but we will not watch all of them. We might just watch parts of a couple of them, but I got to check out Conjunction Junction. What's your function? This gives me flashbacks for sure. Flashbacks from whenever I watch them. I don't know. All right.
Make the... As your body grows bigger,
Your mind must flower.
it's great to learn.
Cause knowledge is power.
In Schoolhouse Rocky, the chip off the block.
All right.
Conjunction Junction.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses.
Okay, you got that? Words, phrases, and clauses. Word, you know. A phrase is a group of words, and a clause is a grammatical unit that's smaller than a sentence. There are two types of clauses, dependent clauses and independent clauses. An independent clause can stand by itself as a sentence. For example, we went home. That can stand by itself. That can be an independent clause. But if you put two independent clauses together, that would be we went home and she stayed there. She stayed there, we went home, both independent clauses. But if we say we went home after the rain stopped, after the rain stopped is a dependent clause. That's a grammatical unit that needs to have a dependent clause in order to be part of a sentence. Anyway.
Junction, how's that function?
I got 3 favorite cars that get most of my job done.
Conjunction, what's their function?
I got and, but, and, or.
But to be very clear, I don't know if they're going to cover it, I forget. Conjunctions, there are way more than and, but, and, or conjunctions. And, but, and, or conjunctions are typically used for what are called coordinating conjunctions, where you connect together two independent clauses, but then you have subordinating conjunctions like whereas, although, and that sort of thing. And those are used to connect together an independent and a dependent clause. So those are also conjunctions. It's just a different type. They probably want to keep it simple, just do the coordinating conjunctions, but the subordinating conjunctions, there are way more of those, since all of those words that connect together the independent and the dependent clauses.
They'll get you pretty far. And that's an additive, like this and that. But that's sort of the opposite. Not this, but that. And then there's or, O-R. When you have a choice like this or that. And but and or get you pretty far.
Yeah, they're actually alluding to the idea that you don't get everything you need with just these three, but they get you pretty far. That means you can do a lot of stuff.
Conjunction junction, what's your function?
Hooking up two boxcars and making them run right. Milk and honey, bread and butter, peas and rice.
Hey, that's nice.
Dirty but happy, digging and scratching, losing your shoe and a button or two. He's poor but honest, sad but true. Boo-hoo!
Conjunction junction, what's your function?
Hooking up two cars to one when you say something like this. Choice, either now or later, or no choice. Neither now nor ever.
Hey, that's clever.
Eat this or that, grow thin or fat. Never mind, I wouldn't do that. I'm fat enough now.
Conjunction junction, what's your function?
Hooking up
Coffee.
phrases and clauses that balance like out of the frying pan and into the fire. He cut loose the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher.
That's a good one.
Let's go up to
He
the
cut loose the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher. Yes.
mountains or down to the seas. You should always say thank you or at least say please.
Classic.
Junction, what's your function?
This is a good one.
Hooking up words and
I
phrases
don't know if
and
this is better
clauses
than.
in
I like the
complex
Adjectives
sentences
song
like,
better.
in the mornings when I'm usually wide awake, I love to take a walk through the gardens and down by the lake where I often see a duck and a drake. And I wonder as I walk by just what they'd say if they could speak. Although I know that's an absurd...
He gave a hint. He used although there. All right. All right. He brought out a subordinating conjunction. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving a little credit to those hardworking subordinating conjunctions. Although...
Conjunction junction, what's your function?
Hooking up cars and making them function.
Conjunction junction, how's that function?
I like tying up words and phrases and clauses.
Conjunction
Classic.
junction, watch that function.
I'm gonna get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction junction, what's your
Classic.
function?
I'm going to get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction junction, what?
All right. All right. Now, we might just check out a few little bits of the others. I don't want to watch any more complete ones by themselves, but I think it's just worth checking out. I mean, just search Schoolhouse Rock and watch these by yourself. Let's see. Lolly, lolly, lolly. Get your adverbs here. That one they use a candy shop. Let's see. Schoolhouse Rock. Rufus Xavier Zasparilla. This one's about pronouns.
Once I did tell my story, the whole world knew about it.
We're still fighting for equality. We're still fighting for respect.
We get a chance to play something that we've always wanted to play.
All right. Rufus Xavier Zasparilla. Kangaroo.
Now I have a friend named Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla, and I could say that Rufus found a kangaroo that followed Rufus home, and now that kangaroo belongs to Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla. Whew, I could say that, but I don't have to, because I got pronouns. I can say he found a kangaroo that followed him home, and now it is his. You see, he, him, and his are pronouns replacing the noun.
We got pronouns replacing the noun, but they're different types. So he is the pronoun as the subject. Him, for example, he gave it to him, is the pronoun as the object. So the object pronoun and the subject pronoun, and then his, belonging to him, the thing that belongs to him is his, is the possessive pronoun. So you've got the object, subject, and possessive pronoun, different types.
Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla, a very proper noun, and it is a pronoun replacing the noun.
It's
kangaroo. How common. Now Rufus has a sister named Raffaella Gabriella Sarsaparilla. If she found a kangaroo, I'd say to you, she found a kangaroo that followed her home, and now it is hers. But I can't say that, because she found an aardvark that fell in love with her, and they're so happy.
Whoa, that's a little weird.
And my name James Albert Andreas Amadilla, no relation to the sarsaparillas. Because of pronouns I can say, I wish he would find a rhinoceros for me, and we'd be happy. You see, a pronoun was made to take the place of a
noun. Now, you hear about pronouns a lot because there's always this debate that's happening. I don't know if it's happening around the world in all languages, but it's happening in the English language, where pronouns are something that people choose, and then you're expected to use their pronouns if they ask you to do so. I don't want to get into the whole issue, but that is a big thing that's going on, and it's kind of a debate and should people have to use those, or should you expect people to use certain pronouns, or should you let people say whatever? It's a whole big debate. Usually, though, someone will write, for example, a man will write he, him as their pronoun, he, him. So that's their subject and object pronoun, and a girl will write she, her. But someone then might write, and this is the controversial one, they, them. And I think it's controversial because they, them was typically used either for someone you don't know. I don't know if it's a man or a woman, so I'll use they or them because I don't know who they are yet. But once I know them, then I use he, him, or she, her. Or they and them were used for multiple people. And now it's moving into the territory of being used as a choice by someone to say, you should call me they, them. Then one complexity that is added is then, and I'm trying not to take a stand here, I'm trying to just describe it, is, okay, so you want people to call you they, them, right? But no one's going to call you they, them when they're talking to you. When I'm talking to you, if you're a man, I will call you you, not he. I will only call you he if you're not here, usually, and I'm talking about you to someone else. Yeah, I saw him yesterday. Or, as if you're a girl, I'll say, I saw her yesterday. But if you're right there in front of me, I will say you, right? What do you want? What do you think? Because I'm looking at you, there you are. Well, what should you do for they? Well, again, if I'm standing right there and there you are, then I'll say you again. So no matter what's there in front of you, if it's a person or even a dog or a turkey, you say, hey, what are you doing there, right? So then the issue is, well, if someone isn't there, then if I use the they pronoun, but I know, why should I use the they pronoun if they're not there? So then there's another debate about that is, are you respecting people's choices even when they are not there? And I can say they being either that person I don't know the name of or the person who has asked me to use they for them. Whew, very confusing. Anyway, that's the issue. It's kind of like, you know what I think? I'll tell you my opinion. Language is a cultural thing. So I don't think there's a right answer because the culture hasn't decided it yet. It's a debate. It's a issue. There are sides. It's like a war. It's a battle of words and language. And one side will win when that's just what people naturally say when they don't think about it. If people have to think about it and always remind themselves, probably not, the war is not over. Once the language works itself out, it becomes common usage. Why does so many people use like? Because that just kind of swept across the country from California, and now we have it, and now it's sweeping around the world. There you go. People are not thinking, I'm going to use like now. It just pops out. So once it becomes automatic, whatever it is, whatever the outcome is, I think it's undecided. Whatever the outcome is, it will just be natural for people. They won't have to think about it. Language is something that you shouldn't have to really think deeply about. Should I have to use this word or not, or whatever? It occurs to you naturally, especially when it comes to things like basic grammar and pronouns. So we'll see. That's my opinion. Wait 10 years. Give it a chance.
Cause saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down.
These songs
now
are
I can
bangers.
Tell you Rafaela, Gabrielle, and
all
Rufus
of these songs so far. These songs are
and Albert Andreas Amadilla found an Art Barker,
Am I wrong? These songs are great.
And now that
I forgot how
aardvark and that
good these
kangaroo and that
songs are.
rhinoceros belong respectively to Raffaella Gabriella Sarsaparilla, Rufus Xavier Sarsaparilla, and Albert Andreas Armadillo. Because of pronouns, I can say in this way, we found them and they found us, and now they are ours, and we're so happy. Thank you, pronouns. You see, a pronoun was made to take the place of a noun, because saying all those nouns over and over can really wear you down.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. I said I wasn't going to watch the whole thing, and I did by accident. Oops. Any other classics? Yeah, check these out anyway. Maybe I'll watch a couple seconds of interjections. Interjections are those things.
Are your kids in grades 6 to 11? Harvard has made SAT and ACT score submission optional.
My kids exist in the future. Things like wow and yikes and wah. Those are interjections.
When Reginald was home with flu, the doctor knew just what to do. He cured the infection with one small injection, while Reginald uttered some interjections.
Why did the shot have to go in your butt?
Ouch, that hurt.
Cheek?
Yeah, that's
Anybody know?
not fair. Giving a guy a shot down there.
Interjections.
Hey,
excitement.
Yeah. Ouch.
They're generally set apart from
That looks like Charlie Brown animation style.
when the feeling's not as strong.
Ouch, that hurts. So you see there's a comma. That's important. If it's not a very big one, then you don't need the exclamation. If it's a big one that's representing a strong emotion, hey, wow, what? That sort of thing, that interjection will then have one word followed by an exclamation mark, then the rest of the sentence if you're going to say something. But if it's a not so strong reaction, like, ooh, ow, ow, or wow, or something like that, then you just use a comma and it's part of the same sentence, right? That's how it works. Anyway, check these out if you like. It's called Schoolhouse Rock. I grew up on them not to learn the grammar, but really to learn the names of the grammar, because there's a very big difference between the grammar itself and the names of the grammar. I think these are great for learning to remember at least those names and the basic functions of the grammar if you forget those things easily rather. So that's Schoolhouse Rock. And if you have any questions, let me know. You should say thank you or at least please. Yes, exactly. Well, I must say it's amazing to have Mary back with us after such a long hiatus. It's like good old times have returned. I will be. I've injected B12 shot before buttocks muscles absorb the fluid quickly. Okay, fair enough. Well, I defer to your wisdom there. So I don't know if you caught it earlier, Mary, but we were doing one-to-one class. Aleda did one, so I'm going to be doing these, I think, once a week. So if anyone is interested in doing a one-to-one class with me, let me know. Reach out. Say, hey, Luke, it's me. You remember me from the thing? I'm interested in doing a one-to-one class. And it's free. The cost you pay is that it's live. So other people will be watching, like we did today. Okay? And I'm going to be, I'm planning to do one every single week. Well, let's see what else we have. Did I miss any questions? We've been going for a while. We've been going for over 2 hours, and we'll be back on Friday. That's another thing, Mary McCain, listen up. Wednesdays and Fridays. Not that I'm expecting you to be there all the time. I'm just saying it's regular now. That's it. This is a thing. Regular. All right? All right. Well, that's all I've got. So thank you all for watching today. And, feel free, if you want to, check out the links in the chat. Those are my courses. I spend most of my time working on courses. If you want to learn If you want to learn English in a more intensive way, you can check those out, and I would be happy to guide you along your path. If you want to take individual courses, you can do that, of course. But if you want to really get serious, you can sign up for the 1-year annual membership. It's a really good deal, actually. If you take all of the courses, it's a great deal. And that comes with a 1-to-1 evaluation with me, and also access to one of the WhatsApp groups. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. See you on Friday around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope you all have a good one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. See ya. Thank you. See you later.